Peace, peace. What's going on, family? Peace and greetings to you all. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. Family, hit the like button. Share this out. We're gonna have a discussion tonight. We're gonna get into just not all of Biden's picks, but some of them. Just some of them. We'll talk about this, extend the conversation a little bit. I think that this is a conversation that's needed because what we're seeing is a Obama. It's funny using that term because we used it with Kamala 2.0, but what we're seeing right now is an Obama administration 2.0. So we're gonna get into some things tonight. Again, hit the like button, family. Share this out. I don't know if my brothers are going to come on tonight. They'll probably pop in a few. But I am going to get into some of this information because, I mean, we as a people, although I didn't vote for Biden, my people did. And regardless to what people say, I am of the belief that we are a monolith. Some people might disagree with that, but when you go back and you look at, and when I say our people, I'm talking about those of our people that descend from the institution of slavery here in the United States of America. So, shout out to everybody that's in the building. Brother Lionel Riley, I see you. The Maud, Corey, the vegan, ADOS vegan in the building. FF ADOS now, and I see you. Let me pull her comment up. Sister said, me either. Both me and my mom didn't. My dad did and could not be swayed. I had a conversation. Peace, Riri. I see you, sis. I had a conversation, Brian Smith in the building. I had a conversation with a close family member about this topic of Obama. And what this family member said to me was, when I was born, we were going through Jim Crow. We were going through a lot of stuff. So we were able to see certain things growing up that, basically we didn't see, but we still were victims of racism, et cetera, et cetera. So this family member was talking about when Barack Obama got elected, that feeling, that adulation that must have in their eyes rivaled when our people were freed from slavery in some sense. Just hearing this particular family member describe the feeling that they got from Obama's election. And when I start breaking down the numbers and the facts, man, did absolutely nothing for us as a people. Start going into the articles. It's like, I don't care. He was a black man. Him being half Kenyan and half a white woman from what is it, Kansas, that ain't mean anything. Not sharing in the same lineage and none of that stuff meant anything. And I mean, that's understandable, for people that's in that age group. And this is why I believe that our politics right now is so important. Our political education right now is so extremely, extremely important. So I want to start off where I ended on the last live stream last week. I see everybody in the building. A woman my age, Peace, WC, Juanita Murray. Who else? Satra Del Reed 360. Brandon checking in from ATL. All right, I want to start off where I ended on the last stream we did last Tuesday. And if you would like to contribute to the platform, you can utilize the super chat. You can also cash app us at Be The Power. We would be appreciative. If you can't, just hit the like button. You know, that don't cost a dime. It's just a click of the mouse, family. So let's start with this. Okay, it's effed up. Campaign staffers who helped Biden get elected are grumbling that ex-Obama officials are snatching up White House jobs. That's why we have the title in the way that we have it, right? Biden's Obama administration, because that's all this is. So we they got a good picture, letting it be known that almond colored white man that's Barack Obama is the one behind the scenes pulling the shots. So, it has its bullet points, excuse me. It says, as President-elect Joe Biden picks people to fill spots in his White House, some of his campaign staff members are worried that they might not get a job in the new administration. People are pissed, one advisor told Politico. So he turned his back on a lot of people that helped him get where he was going to go. And I'm willing to bet that Barack Obama is the one saying this one, they'll be mad. They'll get over it later. I'll see you, BT. What's going on, family? Kimberly Hudson, peace. All right, it says members of Biden's campaign are upset at the number of former Obama administration officials who are being given top positions, Politico said. The Obama staffers are now cutting out the people who got Biden elected, another advisor told Politico, adding, it's effed up. And the article gets in depth. I read it last Tuesday, and I'll read a little bit. It says another advisor agreed. People are pissed, they said, adding, I think I'm going to be taken care of, but I have not been taken care of yet. I am really interested to find out how you even find out how you get a job or got a job in this White House. Some staffers who spoke to Politico pointed out that people who had served Biden since the beginning of his campaign hadn't been picked for White House jobs yet. They took issue with Biden appointing his campaign manager, Jennifer O'Malley Dillon, one of her deputies, Julie Rodriguez, to senior positions, even though they joined his team after Super Tuesday in March. So basically, peace was going on, Metro customer. Basically, this is these picks and appointments of Biden in this administration represents a microcosm of the only macrocosm that it can be compared to. That macrocosm is the fact that the people that got you here, Biden, just like your staffers, put in that footwork, the black vote all over these United States, in the same way that you're turning your back, you and Obama are turning your back on the people that put you in this position. We already know what they're going to do to us. When pressed about reparations, what did Barack Obama say? What did he say? Then he spoke about education and he spoke about programs. None of those things panned out. When he was being interviewed by Charlemagne some days ago on the Breakfast Club last week, he didn't say my programs and the investments that we made into education helped close the racial wealth gap. Oh, he didn't say that. He touted some job numbers. And we all know that follow, the ADOS channels that was basically from the gig economy brought on by Uber. These non-job jobs, these side hustle gigs. And don't forget to add in the fact that if you work in a prison, you're legally considered employed, and they add those numbers as well. We gotta be real here. Gotta think about this. But I want to, because we led off with the article about how Biden's staffers are pissed because of this. He's picking former Obama staffers, right? So what I want to do is I want to camel back off what I just said by reading from Dr. Darity's book, From Here to Equality, page 37, and what he says about Barack Obama. I know y'all probably are not going to be able to see this. Let me see if I can blow this up some. Let's see if I can get it. All right, I think that's good right there. Okay, it says, while some anticipated that Barack Obama's election might reignite the debate, he short-circuited the conversation before his presidency began. When the NAACP interviewed him in August 2008, Obama said, "I have a lot of respect for Congressman John Conyers, and I'm glad that the NAACP gave him its highest honor this year. While I know where his heart is at, I fear that reparations would be an excuse for some to say, quote, we've paid our debt, end quote, and to avoid the much harder work of enforcing our anti-discrimination laws in employment and housing, the much harder work of making sure that our schools are not separate but unequal, the much harder work of lifting 37 million Americans of all races out of poverty." Whew. He said these challenges will not go away with reparations. So while I applaud and agree with the underlying sentiment of recognizing the continued legacy of slavery, I would prefer to focus on the issues that will directly address these problems and building a consensus to do just that. Let's flesh this out. He said that he feared that reparations, the thing that would close the racial wealth gap, and for those that may be new to this platform that see the title about Biden's, Obama's administration and how African Americans got duped, this channel is dedicated to reparations. We are reparationists and political advocacy stemming from reparations. So this is important, right? Peace, ADOS North. I see you. Sister Cynthia Adieme, I see you. 42 tribes. All right. He said to avoid the much harder work of enforcing our anti-discrimination laws in employment and housing. So you have the EEOC. I could be saying that wrong. Equal opportunity. So it's where you go to complain when you're being discriminated against in the workplace. You have a place to go to fight discrimination in the workplace, or if a doctor or if an institution, et cetera, is being discriminatory towards you. You have a place to go. Black Americans whose little bit of worth, remember, I refuse to say black wealth anymore. I'm only going to say black worth. Black worth declined under Obama. It began to decline right around 2010. There was nothing that we could go to insofar as an EEOC is concerned, right? Because he said the much harder work of enforcing our anti-discrimination laws in employment and housing. So to him, having a place to go to report you're being discriminated against is harder than being only worth $1,700, not having enough to make it through a week, not having enough to pay your bills. No, that was much harder. He said the much harder work of making sure that our schools are not separate, but unequal. I don't know if that's typo or am I reading it wrong or understanding it wrong? The much harder work of making sure that our schools are not separate but unequal. The reason why the schools are unequal, not separate, okay, I could be reading it wrong, is because the quality of life where we live at, the ghettos created by America, the property values with the low property taxes that would go into helping build up a school and its curriculum and its paying the teachers better wages and, you know, have just the things that we know that go into building up a school. He says the much harder work of lifting 37 million Americans of all races out of poverty. Well, that's not a tough job. It can't be tougher than a group of people who have, since the times of slavery, been the economic floor of the United States of America. It can't be. Obama said that these challenges will not go away with reparations. For us, it will. For us, it will. Nobody challenged him on that. And this is why this book that Dr. Darity wrote is so important. Let me see if I can come out of this a little bit. All right, I wanted to read some more of. All right, Darity says, as a candidate, Dr. Darity says, as a candidate, not only did Obama have a narrow view of the potential of Black reparations, he also assumed that the case for reparations is based exclusively on the grounds of the enslavement of Black people in the United States. His comments completely ignored the case in the decades following slavery, nearly 100 years of Jim Crow and ongoing present-day discrimination. You gotta bring up Barack Obama, because as I showed, Biden campaign staffers who helped Biden get elected are grumbling that ex-Obama officials are snatching up White House jobs. Okay, let's look at let's look at this guy right here. Let's look at this guy right here. All right, so this is Biden pick for Treasury. Number 2, a moderate voice breaks racial barrier. A moderate voice, not a progressive voice, not a progressive voice, a moderate voice. And they say Elizabeth Warren loved this guy. That's what they say. So let's go through this. Blow this up a little bit. Speaking at a Washington think tank in the summer of 2016, Adewale Adeomo, President Barack Obama's international economics advisor, warned about the perils of protectionism, explains how a growing Chinese economy, such and such, yada, yada, yada. 4 years later, such talk might sound out of touch with the Democratic Party that has become even more hawkish on China. I want to get to the meeting, but that was not a concern for President-elect Joseph R. Biden Jr., who this week tapped Mr. Adeyemo to be Deputy Treasury Secretary, solidifying his team with another stalwart veteran of the Obama administration who would bring center-left economic ideas, deep experience, and diversity to Mr. Biden's top ranks. Like many of Mr. Biden's hires so far, Mr. Adeyemo, who goes by Wally, brings a mainstream policy perspective with the background that breaks barriers. Mr. Adeyemo would be part of a history-making duo. He would be the first black deputy at the Treasury, serving with the first female secretary, Janet L. Yellen. I want to get into this guy's background. Let me see. Okay. It says, if confirmed, Mr. Adeyemo will have risen to the Treasury's #2 spot from humble beginnings. Born in Nigeria, he immigrated with his parents to the United States when he was a baby and settled in Southern California outside Los Angeles. His father was a teacher, his mother a nurse. Mr. Adeyemo, 39, and his younger brother and sister grew up sharing a room in a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, this says everything. This says everything to us, that you can have an ancestry not rooted here in the United States of America. You could have thousands of people whose ancestry is rooted here in the United States of America. America's descendants of slavery. And they will get bypassed so that the claim could be made, as this article states, that Biden basically filled 2 prongs in this particular pick with diversity, with him being black and also being an immigrant. When you look at Barack Obama's problematic statements on reparations, and we look at Biden's picks, we now understand what we're up against for the next 4 to 8 years. We have to become, we talk about this all the time. I can't wait till this COVID thing is finally under control. We have to become politically active in a way that we've never experienced before. Those of us that come out of the conscious community, we used to do lectures. I've done several lectures, man. I've done lectures here in the city where I'm at in Georgia. I've done lectures in Atlanta. I've done lectures in Dallas, Texas. I've done lectures in New York City. At the end of the day, we were educating people on things that didn't help move the needle forward for us politically in the United States of America. So what that does is it makes room for an Adeyemo to be an Obama loyalist, bypassing those of us who descend from the freedmen here in the United States of America to become a top cabinet pick in a Biden administration who got there on the backs of people that without them, he wouldn't have gotten there. You choose Kamala as your #2. You choose Kamala as your #2. An Indian American. And even with the Nigerian American piece, you can go into the Color of Wealth Report Los Angeles and see how Nigerian Americans fare against America's descendants of slavery in Los Angeles. It's not even close. It's not even close. We pull those numbers up all the time. As people come over here and get the opportunities that we're locked out of, and we're not supposed to be upset about it. This is Barack Obama. And the irony is, Donald Trump was the result of Barack Obama and the drama that is the political theater. It's the result of that. These Europeans here, people call white, these oligarchs, they loved Obama. They got richer off of Obama's policies. They got richer. It's the politicians doing their job to make sure that Democrats get out of office. That was the issue. That was the real issue. Barack Obama's racial complexion was the little extra seasoning that they needed on the meal that they were trying to cook up insofar as seizing power was concerned. And when white Americans got richer under Obama, black Americans got poorer. Our brother Logic, he speaks to this political nepotism that goes on in politics. And while this type of nepotism is not necessarily a matter of bloodline, it is a matter of loyalty based on who worked in which previous administrations. This dude is trying to pick Rahm Emanuel. That's Obama's boy. This dude is trying to pick Rahm Emanuel, who became the mayor of Chicago off the strength of Barack Obama's name. Cops killed Laquan McDonald. Rahm Emanuel tried to cover that up. How dare Joe Biden then turn around and ignore the will of the people, pretend as if he is going to be some champion for justice reform and try to have Rahm Emanuel, who didn't let the evidence come out about Laquan McDonald's murder for over a year, trying to protect the very cops that are still in America today gunning our people down. We have a fight on our hands, family. And those of you who come to this channel, I know we don't have too many at this point. We're still growing. We just started in March. I need you all to understand where we are at politically. This thing for them is all about jobs. This is that nepotism that you hear my brother Logic speak about all the time, because it's about jobs. This is why you're getting complaints by the people who are running Biden's campaign not getting the jobs that Biden is filling with former Obama loyalists. I mean, you could have had Nina, what's the sister name? Nina Turner. She's a real progressive. She's a real progressive. She has no place in your administration at all. Simone Sanders, she's a part of Kamala's vice presidential cabinet. That may be a play for 2022, because I believe that Biden is not going to go the full term. I believe he resigns right before the midterm elections or shortly thereafter. This is my little prediction. But I mean, we got a fight on our hands right now. And I know some people saying, somebody says, stop using nepotism. You don't know what it means. Sure. Like, we got to become the power, family. We have to become the politicians in this space. I want to look at Biden's other pick real quick, right? I believe this is his only pick that is a person that what could be called a native Black American or an American descendant of slavery. This guy right here, Cedric Richmond, right? Let's read the headline. Why is this top Democrat absent from the fight against toxic pollution in Cancer Alley? Scroll down. See that right there. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'll read it though. Got brother Josh just joining in. Shout out to our brother Josh. It says Cedric Richmond has received 128,000 from chemical firms, local residents. It was like he was trying to brush us off. This dude wasn't there for his own people. You had politicians like Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, come all the way out to Louisiana to shine a spotlight on what's called Cancer Alley. Stu wasn't there. His position in the Biden administration is to be the liaison to the energy company. A slap in the face. A slap in the face, not just to the people that got skipped over on Biden's campaign team, but a slap in the face to every last one of us that put this devil into office. Brother Josh, you wanted to add anything to that?
Peace, family. Yeah, we talked about this. We talked about this before a couple times. I know other people have touched on it as well, but it's just a shame. It's just a shame, and I mean, I don't know how nobody's made him have to explain this. Like, somebody needs. We need. You know how we have your brother, the brother Jamion Fowler. It needs to be more Jamion Fowlers out here. And it needs to be to the point where, and I guess where we have to take this thing is, these people, they're not even going to be able to go to the grocery store. That's how it needs to be. If they go into the grocery store, it's just going to have to be in a white neighborhood or some neighborhood where people don't really care about him or something, because he's going to the grocery store, his neighborhood. You should be asking him when he come to your counter to pick up a toothbrush or some, I don't know, a cheeseburger at the drive-thru. He needs to be accountable. Hold up, ain't you Cedric Richmond? Hold up, you ain't did nothing. What you gonna do for cancer? Like that should have been the point where he's having to answer for that, and that needs to be on live. The same way Jamion Fowler was saying, it need to be. People like this need to be on blast at all times, on site. As soon as you see them, go live. That's how I feel. And until we get to that type of culture, these people just gonna be able to slither their way up the hill. They just slither their way up into the tree or up the hill, and into an administration. And I these type of associations. I think the people who are associated with this brothers like this, your Mark Morials and I'm trying to think of another person that's of a similar ilk, but these people need to be made accountable. That's what I'm trying to say. Have to be made accountable. And it's interesting. And I kind of jumped in the middle of the program, brother. So forgive me if I'm backtracking. But it's interesting how he's the only ADOS person that's been announced as going to be a part of the new administration. Right. Mm-hmm. Now we have another person who, do you have that article, bro? Did you already go over the brother that is supposed to be, well, the one that's that was announced, the Grim put the clip in the chat.
I just got finished going in on him, Idiyeme or Idiyamo or something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I mean, I'm like, how you gonna say you the first anything? Like, the first anything doesn't matter, because the whole point, the narrative is, we came up from slavery, we came up from Jim Crow. Our people used to be in chains. We used to be swinging from trees. You know what I mean? We used to be a bottom caste. Now we're not a bottom caste. So we on the way up now, because our people are making it. Our people, not only are they getting into high positions in government, they also have the median wealth is higher, the college graduation rates up, the student loan debt also is down. We have more CEOs and more millionaires. Like that needs to be that would have to be the complete narrative to say like this. If ADOS is not rising, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Period.
Facts.
And that's
Facts.
because that's the whole significance of it. It's not significant. It's not significant. I mean, that's just like saying, man, my man, I got this dude on my little league team, and he hit 4 home runs in one game. But wait a minute, is this really little? How old is he? Did you bring somebody that their money has been growing and doing all that for years? That's how we got to look at it. You bringing in, man, he had 4 home runs. Wait a minute, isn't he 16? How was he on the 8-year-old? Of course, he hitting the home runs on the 8-year-old little league team. And because other people can come with their money, with their upper caste. They've been growing money for generations. Then they come over here with this type of stuff. It's just that's what it's like. That's what's up.
Let me address this guy real quick in the chat. I got some troll in here, King Pseudo Sarnetta. We know that ain't Sarnetta, but he's probably king of pseudos. He says, so let me get this straight. Biden, who was never a progressive, never campaigned as one, gets elected, and you're upset that he is not progressive at Lorda. Like, I don't know what you're listening to, brother. I don't know if you're not familiar with this platform, or if you are familiar with the platform and you decided that you were going to make a page just to troll Lord Abbott today. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about at all. When I brought up progressive, I brought up the fact that Biden, or there were at least rumblings of Biden choosing people from out of the pool of progressive politics. So even with the IDMA or IDOMO, I'm butchering his name right now, and I took that page down. That they said that guy's policies were moderate, not progressive, but they were like, and Biden was saying that Elizabeth Warren loved him. Also, Biden called him an African American, an immigrant. Like, this is the words that Biden. So I mean, I don't know what you talk about fam.
I think I understand what he talking about. He's saying like, why are we mad, or why are we surprised when we already knew what it was? And the thing is that we already know what it was. Like, us that's speaking on here. That still doesn't mean we don't need to be mad at it. We have, I mean, especially when you look at the standpoint that we were responsible for putting him in office. You look at who voted for who, and you see there was an increase in white women voting for Joe Biden. I mean, excuse me, for Republicans, as opposed to Republicans on the last presidential term, right? The last election in 2016, white women increased their vote for Republicans, even though there's not a white woman on the ticket. You would think that Hillary Clinton. I mean, you would think that. My point is this: it doesn't matter what our opinion of him is. ADOS, Black folks, put him in office. We resurrected him out of the dead. If it wasn't for Clyburn and all of that in South Carolina and a bunch of other stuff that went on, Joe Biden would not be the president. So then you would think that in a rational or reciprocal world, a world where there's some type of reciprocity, that he would then make his cabinet look like the people, some of the people who put him in office, right? But then we see that it's mostly white women, the ones who voted against him more than anybody, So that's what the problem is.
As you say that, let me pull up. Let me pull this up. Let me know, can y'all see that? Clyburn. Biden falling short on naming black figures to top posts. The most senior black lawmaker on Capitol Hill is taking Joe Biden to task over administration appointments, saying the president-elect is falling short when it comes to naming black figures to top positions. James Clyburn, a House Majority Whip and a close Biden ally, expressed disappointment on Wednesday that African Americans, a voting bloc crucial to Biden's presidential victory, have not featured more prominently among the early picks to fill out senior administration posts next year. See, this is where people like Biden will get their wake-up call. This is where they will get their wake-up call. Be like, yeah, that's an Obama guy, and he's Nigerian. He's not one of us. He's not one of the people that's more qualified that I know that you could have put in, or equally qualified that you could have put in that position, or any of these top positions. You choose Cedric Richmond, a swamp monster that swims in the money of the wasn't pharmaceutical companies. Close the page out, but I mean, this guy was. That's it. You
Oil
just
and
gonna
gas company.
Oil and gas company. Excuse me. Like you're gonna pick that guy who resides over Cancer Alley?
Companies, all that.
I mean, come on, man. So this thing is crazy.
Well, I mean, Joe Biden was heavy in oil and gas. His donors were heavy. Oil and gas donors were heavy. So I mean, you would see how they would pick their kind of Negro to be, because I think, especially when you look at trust, when the most egregious things that they want to do, they're gonna want to put a black face in front of it. Think about it. What did Trump do? He went after, he changed the house policy. Okay, put Ben Carson over there. And let me tell you what racism also looks like. A lot of people think they look at racism and it's like, you want to see Trump, you want to see white supremacists out here, and you want to hear the N-word. And let me show you what racism and white supremacy look like. It also looks like just wanting to get by and pass. It looks like when you can clearly see somebody putting a mask on, you're like, well, they probably gonna rob me. So you just got to look at some of these people like they're wearing masks because they about to run up and rob you. If you see somebody coming, like walking towards your house at nighttime, they putting a ski mask on, or they putting if you working at a bank, you see somebody putting on a Halloween mask, and they walking up with a bunch of people putting Halloween masks, it means they probably gonna stick the joint up. That's what that means. And what we see is racism is just wanting to check boxes. You need to check as many boxes as you can. That's why they determined to put Kamala. She checked all the boxes. She's an she's an immigrant. Well, excuse me, her parents are immigrants. She's an Indian American. That's 1 billion people over there. She's a quote unquote over top of that. She's an Asian American because that's part of India. She's a woman. She's a black woman. And she's not ADOS. Being not ADOS actually is checking a box. Like that's checking a box. And people don't understand that. Being ADOS, that's not a box they want checked. They want to leave that box unchecked.
So the King Pseudo take Sarnetta name off of there. King Pseudo Sarnetta says Simone Sanders is ADOS. You also have other black people like K. Jean Pierre. There are also other minority groups. Either you are.
Man, don't nobody care about no minorities, bro. What is y'all talking? My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I mean, look, I'm not even gonna address that. I'm not gonna. If you want to address it, you can.
Let's just cover it real quick for people. Yeah, I didn't even see the comment. I mean, look, I don't know what the brother. I don't know what the brother has been on. I don't know. He may be new to this. You know what I mean? So we'll just have to say this. Like, the main issue with America is today, Native Black Americans, the people who descend from chattel slavery, are getting erased in America, in the country we built. You got to understand the wealth data. We the bottom. America's a caste system. We're the bottom caste. We have, just understand the wealth data. Middle black family worth $1,700. Middle white family is worth 117 after you take out depreciating assets like the car and the sofa. That stuff shouldn't be counted as wealth, right? And just look in different cities. In LA, we worth middle black family worth 4,000 with only $200 liquid. And you look in DC, $3,500. You look in Boston, $8. Look in Miami, $11 liquid. You look at all these different places where we at the bottom of the bottom. And you look at other groups like Indian. First 1 or 2 generations in America, they 573,000 in DC. I think it's like 400 or 500 some thousand in LA. In all these different cities, ADOS is at the bottom. So even when you break it down by within blackness, when you disaggregate blackness a little bit, right? You look at LA, you see that the middle Nigerian family, I think, is worth like 60,000 liquid, 72,000 hard, something like that, right? Well, we were $200. So you got to understand that there is a difference, and you got to understand how does a person. Now we can't. I'm not trying to say that every group that come over is privileged or whatever the case may be. You got some Caribbean immigrants and stuff that come over that don't come from that type of privileged background. However, we know that there is a selective nature in immigration. Whereas you're going to pick the people that's most likely to work, most likely to come into a lot of, but let's keep it funky with the Caribbean immigrants. There's a lot of them that come work in jobs like nursing and these other type of jobs where they should have programs that should have been trained in ADOS to get in these type of jobs too. So, and then of course in the African immigrants, we talking about you getting the ones that's coming over here to go to school or work in corporations. So they already coming in with a high income. They might already be coming over here with wealth. You know what I mean? So like we have to understand that I think the statistic came out at 60% or more Nigerian Americans Nigerians who come to America already come with college degrees, when there's only like 5% of Nigeria that has college degrees. I believe that's the stat. And when we know like ADOS only has 16% of us got college degrees. So you have to understand that the likelihood of these people end up getting in top positions is higher than us even being in a position to be qualified. Then we talk about discrimination. Then we're talking about lower access to wealth. Then we're talking about racism. You know what I'm talking about? Where being not ADOS is checking a box. So when you talk about minorities, understand that is a con game that was played on you, it was played on me, so that they get to ignore the reasons why we at the bottom and been at the bottom, and they get to just say the word minority and show like other people that they're importing, who we already told you, if you coming over with a college degree, if you coming over on the H-1B visa to work and come over here, start making $150,000 a year. Yeah. You can, if you get to be counted as a minority, as me, who come from slavery, who come from, like people having to die and put money together, and this person leave money, and just to be able to finally get a house. You know what I mean? Working. I mean, you've been played a con if you fooling with that minority word. So let's Simone Sanders. Let's go back to Simone Sanders. Simone Sanders. She, was talked about last night. Simone Sanders is working for Kamala. How you come in? How you get by to the White House? Then shouldn't you get a promotion? No, you get demoted when you ADOS. That's what we talking about. She working for Kamala, not Biden. They didn't put people over top of her. They done went and put the Haitian chick, the Haitian LGBT chick, and just leapfrog her over top of Simone Sanders. And guess what? If that chick was so good, why didn't Kamala win the White House? Why didn't she win the nomination? Why didn't she survive and even make it to South Carolina? She couldn't even make it to South Carolina, and she get a promotion because not being ADOS is checking a box. That's what we're trying to get you to understand. It's not about, I don't want to hear nothing about the first Black if they're not ADOS, period.
So I have pulled up on the screen net, what is it? Net worth by income, household net worth. Household income. Let me go back up. List of ethnic groups in the United States by household income. Brother Josh had brought this out on a live stream we did about 6 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. And you see here, number 69 on the list is Nigerian American, whose household income is $60,732. That's 69. African Americans who've been here from day one is number 93 on this list, whose household income is $41,511. Now, this is income. This is income. This is what people make in a year. So this is annual income. This is not wealth or worth. This is, so when we're talking about somebody like the guy that Biden picked, here it is. Adewale Adeomo, who's a Nigerian American who immigrated over here. He's not even, if I'm not mistaken, second generation. He came over with his parents. And someone like this gets to bypass us, then there's a problem. And we have to call it for what it is. Like, there's no other way to look at the dire nature of the fact that we are becoming systemically replaced. It's just as simple as that. You don't hire our people. You start hiring Haitians. I seen another woman, her last name was Etienne. Now, Etienne, I know, is also a Haitian last name. So I don't know if this person is, and I don't know if she's in a top cabinet position or if she's just a part of some team. I had actually had I had it pulled up because I was going to go into this the other night when we were on with Sister Angela Nirvana, but I'll pull it up another time. But yeah, this is getting crazy. We're being replaced. And this message has to go out to the people. We have to hit the streets when COVID is over. We have to do lectures. We have to go to the college campuses. People need to know what's going on, because if you normalize anything, you don't understand exactly how problematic it is. I try to show that to people all the time with certain behaviors, etc., that a thing can become so normalized that you might not understand that you are partaking in a process of degradation towards a person or a group or somebody with a different frame of thinking. So I just believe that we are in dire straits right now. I don't know what else to say insofar as that portion of the message. We have to become politicians. We have to put this thing on our back and ride with it until the wheels fall off. King Pseudo, he's living up to his name. He says this rhetoric is dripping with xenophobia. Okay, so this is what I would love for you to do. King Pseudo, would you like to come on this live stream and show and prove that what we're saying is xenophobic? Show and prove that a brother or a sister whose ancestry descended, whose ancestors were enslaved, were then freed and homeless, found a way out of no way, were able to purchase their own lands, had that land taken from them, put their money into banks, had those banks basically looted, still found a way, but couldn't get on the front of the bus when everybody else had to pack in to the back of the bus, even when there was available seats in the front of the bus. Had to endure cross burnings on their lawns. had to endure their brother, mother, father, uncle being lynched, wife, sister, daughter being raped, still found a way, survived the crack era, went to college, got all the same accolades as what's his name, Adewale Odiomo, have all the same credentials. I would love for you to come on Be the Power right now and explain to me, prove it. I don't even want to really hear your explanation. I need your proof. Prove to me that this guy, or Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, or Kamala Harris, deserves to be in a better position than any one of our people that have went through all of those things just to be told in 2020, get to the back of the bus while there's still seats available in the front. Come on to the show. I'll send you the link right now. Right now. I'm going to wait for him. You got something to say, Brother Josh?
Dude, you need to catch up. You're late. You're far behind. I understand. You're far behind. I do understand. It's a lot of people that's late to the party. That's late to getting. See, but that's something that even Democrats and everybody else and other groups they've already came to the conclusion that you're late on. You need to go read what some of these other groups are saying. They're saying that this thing needs to be disaggregated. And understand, xenophobia is like a luxury item. That's something with like a privileged group that's at the top of something. They scared somebody's gonna take something, so they spreading propaganda and lies and all kind of unfounded things. Please show me how immigration has benefited Black America. If you can show me, show me. And countries need to have borders. And countries need to take responsibility for taking care of the citizens first before it wants to bring in a whole lot more citizens, bring in a whole lot more people and give them a pathway to become citizens. You know, and this thing, we never come at individuals from the basis based on their nationality status. We come at the systems and the policies that create the pathway for them to come in and step on us and essentially have us erased. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about wherever somebody's from. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue when you come over here and you're held up as like you're me when you're not me. That's called a fraud, and I refuse to be somebody to play a con on me. And you should too. And I don't know if you come from the same lineage as me, so maybe you are still feeling like that you can fight for that privileged position, or I don't know. But if you are not in allyship with fighting for the group that fought so that every other group can come to America and have an opportunity, listen to Ro Khanna. He'll tell you. If you don't understand that, you're late. You're late, and you've been captured by Democrat leftist propaganda and social engineering. So catch up.
Facts. I want to pull Miss Tiffany comment up. She says, we are the only group of people who came here without a choice. Like that's how you shut the argument down. That's how you shut it down. That is how you shut this argument down easily. They chose to come over here. I was talking about, and I've mentioned it several times on this platform, this book. I still haven't got the book yet, Mau Mau of Harlem, but the author, whose name I forget at this time, was talking about how the United States government were considering giving new immigrants from Africa, this is, I believe, in the 60s, pins to wear on their lapels so that they would be recognized as not America's descendants of slavery, so that they would be treated different. That means, I'm glad I brought it up because I got to get my hands on those resources. I need to know if that's true. And if that resource or that source is true, and he can back that up with references, then it proves that the United States has a specific type of disdain for the people who descend from the institution of slavery. It's just as simple as that. And we're looking at it right now. These picks that Biden is making represents corporate white America. And the quote unquote black picks that he's making represents the largely immigrant class who are in a whole different economic stratosphere than those of us who descend from American slavery. I got somebody in the chat, Indy Bluff, talking about we shouldn't call each other African American. Let me say to Indy Bluff, right? I don't vibe with African American or black. I'm a Moorish American. I have ain't no confusion when I say that about myself, because I know exactly who I am. I know why the designation was formed specifically for America's descendants of slavery. I use these terms so that I can speak to people in a language that they can understand and not get confused, one, and sidetrack, two, off of my usage of the name Moorish American. And one day, like I said, I'll have that conversation. Because it's a conversation that needs to be had, because in my opinion, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was genius for coming up with that designation, and it is playing out right in front of our eyes, because my skin is brown, baby. It's brown. It's not black. So we shouldn't be using that term anyway. That's another discussion and another debate. But you wanted to say something, Josh?
And that's one of the main reasons why people from the Moorish background should have been the first adopters of, or the first people that latched on to this movement, because we've been saying we're not black people for the longest, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying I don't know if there's any other black group, quote unquote black group or school of thought that was saying that we're not a black people, and that to dive in and look at the lineage that was at the turn of the 20th century, you know, all the way to today. Now I'm not giving them no credit for anything else other than that right now on the show, but that right there was like, when I heard and I started learning about ADOS and I started listening to the message, I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? We vibe immediately.
And we fit right in. It's like, oh, okay, this is what we talk about. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you know, that was one of the earlier you know, ADOS type movements, you know what I'm saying? To teach people about their heritage, their lineage, and talking about reparations, you know, we can get into that one day, but we ain't come on here to do that.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
we talking about. Matter of fact, we already did a program talking about their history. Y'all can go back and watch it in some time ago. We talked about that. We talked about religion and early ADOS religion, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So, but man, listen. It doesn't is like I like the term American descendants of slavery, because it keeps it, or you know, whatever term you want to use, American descendants of slavery, descendants of descendants of whatever. I don't care if you want to use Native Black American. I like that better, because we want it to be focused on lineage and not no type of skin color or no caste. Well, it is referring to the caste that we've been put in, but it's not like anybody else can come over and get confused. When we say ADOS, what is his name? Adeyemi, what is his name? Biden can't say he's an American descendant of slavery, Nigerian immigrant. That don't make that ain't gonna fly. There's no technicality he can get past with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we wanted to come on tonight and have a discussion about Barack Obama's third term. Oh man, we gotta fight. We gotta. I'm telling you, I go through the days, and I don't trust the government like most everybody else don't trust the government. So when it comes to vaccines and all of these different things, I'm just as wary as the next person. I'm just not going to be running around here spreading wild, unfounded, stupid conspiracy theories. But I am following this thing, and one of the things that I'm looking at is how the worldwide scientific community is looking at this thing with this vaccine, and I'm not telling anybody that they should or shouldn't take the vaccine, but there's a deadly pandemic ravaging this nation right now, and it doesn't bode well for us, right? Because it's not like we can work from home for the rest of our lives. The only thing that we can do from home is send in enough ballots to put an old segregationist into office and his sidekick who we rejected during the primaries. That's about it. So when this thing gets, when this thing gets cleared up, we have to go. I'm stressing that message, hopefully, I'm hoping that science wins. And this is just not some money grab, and those of us who are at the bottom rungs in this society get swept to the side. But I'm hoping that this thing is dealt with so that we can make the necessary moves that's needed to be made so that we can start pushing this message from, I don't care, street corners to community centers to college campuses, their lecture halls. We need to be in every last one of those spaces, every last one of them. By 2022, we need to have candidates ready to go. We need to have candidates ready to go by 2022. Period. So I don't have too much more. Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say, like, the people that we're dissatisfied with, we need to be looking at to see when if they see is for coming up a re-election in 2022. We need to be looking for their replacements right now. Look for their replacements now, and we need to be getting them to get they stuff in order, man. Like, hey, I mean, Clyburn, and is this seat coming up in 2022?
I don't know.
Clyburn, if you
check ballot,
I think, hey, if who can we get to step up to take advantage of the opportunity of the failure that is Clyburn for the ADOS people? Because it is a failure. You put Joe Biden in the White House. You get him elevated to get in the White House. Then you tell him you don't want nothing. And then you turn around and complain, but wait a minute, you ain't putting no black folks, you ain't putting ADOS people in none of these positions. What do you care for? You just told them you ain't want nothing. And then you want to put your 10, 20, 30 plan and let Democrats cap for that, like that's something specific for us. When we ask for an agenda, they get to say, well, Clyburn, we going to do Clyburn's plan, 10, 20, 30. No. The same one that was laughing and picking your nose when dude was asking about reparations. Come on, man. It needs time. It means somebody need to step up to get his behind up out of there.
Yeah,
Somebody got to step up. We got to find somebody that can connect with the people that can run on it. Cause see, it's going to be the same old crowd of a small percentage of the population that's going to show up to vote for the captured, just pitiful Democrats like Clyburn. We need to be connecting with the people, and we need to be talking about reparations. We need to talk about things that's actually going to transform them, because most of those people don't care nothing about politics, because they know ain't nothing to change their whole life. We
hmm
need to be connecting and getting somebody that can energize the people and see that if you get me elected, things will change. I'm going to fight for these issues, and I'm not going to stop until these issues. Somebody, and get Clyburn's ass up out of there, and not just him,
Wow.
other people. Excuse me, did I say? Yeah, get
It's
him up.
all good. It's all good. I mean, look, I just posted it in the chat. I mean, Clyburn, it says all U.S. House districts, including the 6th Congressional District of South Carolina, are holding elections in 2022. The general election is scheduled on November 8th, 2022. That should be a focus area. That should be a focus area. You was a kingmaker, and you helped Biden get into the position to ignore you and ignore the people that put him there. You go through Biden's lip. Matter of fact, let's run through that real quick. Let's run through this. Let us run through this real quick. Let's real quick. Biden's lift every voice. The blighted lift every voice. The Biden plan for Black America. You started off wrong. What does that mean? Lift every voice. I don't understand what that means. Is it a play on the song? Lift every voice and sing to, I forget the words. But I don't know what that means. Lift every, that sounds like rising tides lifts all boats to me. That Obama language. That's what it sounds like to me.
But here, you know what's so crazy? Before you go in on this, there's a plan for Black America. Then there's also a plan for the diaspora. Wait a minute, are we? What are we? So they get to double dip. They get to be Black America and the diaspora, and we just get to be Black America. You see? So go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's crazy. So, let me see. I'm not obviously going to read through this whole thing, but let's read this opening paragraph. Joe Biden knows that African Americans can never have a fair shot at the American dream so long as entrenched disparities are allowed to quietly chip away at opportunity. He is running for president to rebuild our economy in a way that finally brings everyone along, and that starts by rooting out systemic racism from our laws, our policies, our institutions, and our hearts. If you were serious about that, the diversity in your initial cabinet appointments so far would reflect that. Right now, Biden's cabinet reflects white women. And if I look at them as a monolith, then they came out for Trump. Right? If I look at them as a monolith, they came out for Trump. Okay, it says the mission is more important now than ever before, as the health and economic impacts of COVID-19 have shined a light on and cruelly exacerbated the disparities long faced by African Americans. Pause. You mean to tell me in your 40 years, and if Obama is behind the scene pulling the strings, which we know that he is, you don't know the wealth data? It took COVID for you to see that something is wrong? That. All right, let me continue. Matter of fact, let me scroll down. Some of this language is funny, but I want to just get to some of these points. Let me see. It says, today we need a comprehensive agenda for African Americans with ambition that matches the scale of the challenge and with recognition that race-neutral policies are not a sufficient response to race-based disparities. Oh, that sounds like some pretty fair language. It sounds like what's been said on the platforms that have been advocating for our people, particularly for reparations over the past 2 years, right? So it says the Biden plan for Black America will advance the economic mobility of African Americans and close the racial wealth and income gaps. How? This is the questions are not properly being asked. You ask somebody, you either ask Biden, you ask Adi, what is his name? Adewale Adeyemo, who's going to be the Treasury's number 2 pick, right? You ask them how, and then you ask them. So whatever because Barack Obama said that he was going to do the same thing, and Black Americans' worth declined. So what are you going to do different that can take the place of a reparations program? These are the questions that these people need to hear when we run up with, our brother Jamie Fowler, who Josh mentioned earlier, has given us the blueprint on what to do and what to say to these people. The next bulletin point: expand access to high quality education and tackle racial inequality in our education system. Okay. If the people had reparations, if the racial wealth gap was closed, the issue of high quality education, it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be there. Tackle racial inequality in our education system. The racial inequality comes from governmental programs like redlining. That's where that inequality in the education system comes from, because where your school is located and the property taxes that go into paying for that school's education, whether it be the books, et cetera, was affected a long time ago. And so not only do you have generations of poor people, you have generations of poor education. They go hand in hand. Only a reparations program could fix that. So that goes back to the same questions we ask at bulletin point 1. How do you advance the economic mobility of African Americans and close the racial wealth income gaps without reparations? How do you do it? It's impossible. It is impossible. And this is why we have to become the politicians. The next one says, make far-reaching investments in ending health disparities by race. Well, what happens if those of us that grew up in housing projects and ghettos all across the United States of America didn't have wealth stripped from them in the early 1900s and were boxed out of wealth ever since then? And our grandparents would have been doctors and nurses, as opposed to somebody that can come to America from another country, send $4,000 back to their native country, put their child or brother or sister through nursing school for $4,000 US, come over here and take a job that you was never going to get. How do you fix that disparity in health? Like this stuff is, we are changing the conversation. So the next bulletin point says, strengthen America's commitment to justice. Man, we thought that was going to happen under Obama. We thought 8 years of Obama was going to fix that. All we got from Obama was if Trayvon Martin was my son. Trayvon Martin looked like he could be my son. Really? Really? It's interesting. That is interesting. So no policies. Eric Holder, your attorney general, went into Ferguson and basically said, there's nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. And while they did put out some reports about systemic racism, they did nothing to change these things. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it kept going on and on and on. And because Obama was feckless, spineless, always trying to cater to the white Republican base that they are never going to capture, he let these things happen on his watch. Let them happen. He didn't care. Make the right to vote and the right to equal protection real for African Americans. Hold up. Hold up. We had the 15th Amendment, and I don't know the exact year, 15th Amendment, maybe 1870, 1871. Somebody could pull that up. I could be off on that year. Then you had the Voting Rights Act in 1965. So in 2020, after 8 years of this black president, and now we're getting a reboot of that same black president in the form of Joe Biden, one of the bulletin points is to make the right to vote and the right to equal protection real for African Americans. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? King Pseudo, I offered you to come on to the platform. You just trolling in the chat. If I don't know what I'm talking about, come make me look stupid. That's all you got to do. I love to be challenged and corrected if I'm wrong. Address environmental justice. You hire Cedric Richmond, a swamp monster that took donations from the oil and gas companies, who covered up the toxicity, the literal toxicity and the waste in places like Louisiana, New Orleans, Cancer Alley, where our people live at. You hire that man, but say you're trying to address environmental justice. How is this possible? How? I don't think the task is a Herculean task. I think that the task is a simple task. I really do. I've been called a naive before, a hopeless naive, because although this place has messed our people up, I still believe that there are redemptive qualities within our people. I come from the streets of New York, grew up wild, straight wild, and anybody that knows me, that watches Be the Power, they'll tell you how we grew up in the streets of New York. And yet here I am talking politics, particularly in a way so that they could understand it. I don't think it's a tough task. I think we just have to do it. And we have to make sure that we get behind real people that's going to do real things, politically especially. And once we do that, we will come out on top. Capture our own electorate. That should be the goal. Bring that number of eligible voters from 12.5% up to 80%. There's a way to do that. And you got to be willing. You got to be willing to get your clothes dirty, get your shoes dirty, walk through the mud. And I don't know if everybody is capable of that particular part of the fight. But I am. And I know that those of you who watch Be the Power, you are as well. And this is our focus. That's been my driving theme tonight. That is the message that I wanted to weave into tonight's discussion, that from now to 2022, specifically, we have a focus, building our numbers up, becoming more politically active, becoming more politically educated, talking to our people in the streets, like I said earlier, from the street corners to the community centers to the college campuses, the lecture halls at the college campuses. We have to make our presence felt. They need to know. They need to know that we seek to capture our electorate. So now Joe Biden, matter of fact, Joe Biden never even wins South Carolina if we have our own electorate captured. We have to do it. Brother Josh, you had anything that you wanted to add to that before we get up out of here?
Nah, I mean, look, like I said before on the previous show, I'm just, I can't help but to look in the comments, and I would just say people need to see first to understand, then to be understood. If you're coming and you're noticing that a lot of people are saying the same thing and are in agreement, it's probably because we've already sought to understand. We've come to an understanding. We've educated ourselves on this particular topic. We're not coming from the standpoint of whatever the just eyeball test narrative is, or whatever the mainstream media perspective is, whatever the establishment propaganda or social engineering program is. We're coming from the standpoint of actually diving into the numbers, the data, and the scholarly works, the history, to shape our perspective. We're not coming from the layman's perspective. We're coming from an educated perspective because we read the books. We've done the work. We're on top of this every day. This is what we live. And we don't live it just in as an experience. We lived it as a conscious, learned, continuous education program. So, yeah, we educate ourselves so we can educate other people. And if you're coming on this platform and you don't want to be educated, or you think it's an echo chamber, no, this is because we the people that's in the chat, they've been on it. Like you can't come in our chat and not come correct. We don't even have to go in on you. The chat will eat you up. We trying to help you and save you. I didn't say save you. We trying to give you a fair opportunity by giving you the link. Look, you'd rather have the link than to have the chat, because at least with the link you can just put more than a few characters. You can make it. The chat might eat you up now if you come and saying some retarded stuff on it once you get the link. Then the chat really going. But but I want to say I do. Even if you have a disagreeing or dissenting opinion, I appreciate you even coming on and listening. And I don't expect everybody who hears us for the first time to vibe with the message 100%. But I ask that you at least inspect what you expect. If you disagree with the information, go and study and go and read some of the prerequisite material that we've already been through, and then come back and see if that material doesn't give you a more favorable opinion that's similar to ours, right? Go and read From Here to Equality by Dr. Sandy Darity. From Here to Equality, Reparations for Black Americans in the 21st century. Go and read They Were Her Property by what's it, Stephanie Rogers. What's the name? Go and
Stephanie
read
Kelton.
when, no. That's the that's another one. Go and read The Deficit Myth by Stephanie Kelton. Go and read. I was talking about Stephanie Jones Rogers, I think her name is.
Okay.
They Were Her Property. Go and read When Affirmative Action Was White by, I think it was Ira Katz-Nelson. Go and read Color of Money by Mercer Baradaran. Go and read Color of Law by Richard Rothstein, right? Go and read, give me another one. Go and read The Invention of the White Race.
When affirmative action was white. I mean, I got a couple on
that one.
The Economy of Slavery. I got a couple joints on Kindle and Audible that I'm on as well, man. But yeah, go ahead, brother Josh.
I'm gonna go through some more. Go and if you know, just go and Google What We Get Wrong About Closing the Racial Wealth Gap by Dr. Sandy Derry, Brother Antonio Moore, and some others. Go and read The Color of Wealth Report. Okay, in every city. Go Color of Wealth, Washington, D.C., Color of Wealth, Los Angeles. Go and read that report. Okay. Chat, help me out. Y'all just start dropping books in there that we didn't went through.
That's what they're doing.
In there and help this brother out.
They already doing it. You know, they're already on it.
I see y'all.
And you know, and that's a good thing. People are gonna come and they're gonna have their opinions.
Hold on. One more. Go and read Immigration. Real quick. Go and read Immigration and the Remaking of Black America. Go and read that one, and then you come back to us, and then see. Matter of fact, that seems to be an issue that you have a problem with. Go and read that first, and then come back and holler at us. Oh no, I take that back. Go and read From Here to Equality. Then go and read Immigration and Remaking of Black America, and then come back, and then we can have a discussion.
So hopefully that brother was trolling, obviously, but hopefully that brother, he is still watching and he got some of those book titles and he's going to read. I mean, they definitely going in the chat, How the Irish Became White, Medical Apartheid, The Bloody Shirt, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community, They Were Her Property. I mean, Reed Coates' piece, A Case for Reparations. That's a very powerful piece. I remember I listened to it because it had a link on SoundCloud, and I was at work, and I put it on, and geesh, man, I got emotional listening to that joint, man. I got Slavery by Another Name, Price for Their Pound of Flesh.
Oh yeah, the half has never been told. The half. The half has never been told. That's the book of the month now. I mean, in the Breaking Brown book club. But yeah. I mean, I think they even got like a whole PBS program that you can watch on YouTube based on that book.
And that's another thing. You know, all of these, as I was going over those points with Biden, all of these things are documented. You know, this stuff is documented already. The government could have been fixed these things. This is why you have to have, I mean, you have to have a political push for reparations. HR 40. Excuse me. I'm thinking that HR 40 is now going to be fast tracked. Man, they dropping some books in here that Sons of Providence. That sounds like something that might interest me. The American Slave Coast. Yeah, that's a bunch. Yeah, they're going in. Let me see.
See, this he said it's easy chat right here. This ain't no. This ain't no lightweight chat.
He said it's easy to be right when you are the only one allowed to speak. So forget the fact that we
gave you the link, bro. Come on.
We getting up out of here, man. Yo, So we'll be back on this Thursday, family. Hit the like button, share the video out. Tonight's discussion was basically Biden's Obama administration. We are getting a reboot of Barack Obama, which doesn't bode well for us because it didn't bode well the 8 years that he was president the first time. So we got to push. We got to push. So I'm going to leave us with the BTP motto, and that is don't just fight the power, become the power, and then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I'll say peace.
Peace.